You're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by
Anthony Galati. Hi.
And
as always, Stephen Bagliacco. Hi.
You missed your chance to do it.
Twice. Twice. That's 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Don't give it to him anymore. Let me go first.
Just
He can have the as always if he wants.
No,
and
it's
I'll come up
yours.
with
I'm not
something
going to
else.
steal your thing. I'll come with my
I'll come up
own.
with something else. You like it a lot.
we're going to do a drum roll in every episode. And introducing.
I'll tell you what, Brian's just his credits throw me off every time. I know I bring this up all the time, but it's just like
His
teacher and
credentials?
filmmaker.
Don't worry. If I can add anything, I will. If I made like Major League Baseball next year, I'd be like, end star second baseman.
So, this episode, we are watching Mutiny on the Bounty.
Yes. We're sailing the high seas.
Yes. This is exciting.
So,
Yeah.
preliminary thoughts. Have either of you seen this movie before?
I have never seen this, no.
I never seen it, and I picked it.
I had never seen it.
So is this the first time we're all going in fresh?
Yeah.
No, I think there was others, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't think so.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we all went in completely blind.
Yeah.
1962 version. we
Yes.
point out.
1962, the greatest year in the history of pop culture.
Why?
What?
Yep.
Why?
Because you have the birthplace of the greatest fictional character of all time. Well, not the birthplace, but it's his first appearance. The first issue of Spider-Man comes out in August that year. Amazing Fantasy number 15,
Big year for
Spider-Man.
Brian.
Then you also have the first Bond movie, Dr. No.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
really big year for
1962.
you. Wow.
That's actually, yeah.
It is the greatest year for pop culture in human history.
If 1962 didn't happen, you don't happen.
I am
you don't
nothing.
exist.
I
Brian
just
would be
stared
dead
at a wall.
right now. He
doesn't
Also,
exist,
that is the first year of the New York Mets.
He really doesn't exist.
Wow. It's the year of brain.
Yeah.
62. That has to be like a tattoo on you somewhere.
Wow.
Like you got to do that.
If only I was born that year, I would have seen all my teams win championships. But for
Not
some
in
reason,
62.
they won it in 69. I would have.
Yeah,
you
you'd
would've
be
seen
great.
it.
You'd be a boomer. You'd be
Yeah.
cashing out on life right
Yeah.
about now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, instead, God cursed me
Yeah.
with torment.
Yeah.
Enjoy shit sports till you die, asshole.
Shit sports. You'll be in
Characters
You'll be a
abused.
wage slave your entire life. You'll never accrue wealth. Mutiny on the Bounty.
What did you guys think of the movie?
I want to watch it again. I liked it a lot.
I fucking loved it. This movie kicked ass.
Yeah.
This was great.
What about you?
I was not too pleased with it.
Oh no.
Oh my!
I
this
didn't-
is great. We got opposing opinions.
Yeah.
Good. We need that.
I won't say I disliked it, but it's hard to say I liked it.
Okay.
I think that the end is very unsatisfying and you don't know what happens after.
I know what happens.
Yeah,
Well, I looked it up, but I'm saying like I don't find it to I feel like there's so many threads left hanging at the very end of the movie.
I'll say this: the movie, based on the reality of it, like the real story.
Are you familiar with the real story? Because I wasn't.
Yes,
Okay. I've heard of Mutiny on the Bounty, but I didn't know anything about it.
I definitely learned a lot looking into it. For the research of the
So
of
fascinating.
doing this. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I knew the basic thing. Like I knew about Pitcairn Island and the people.
Okay,
that live
I didn't
there
know that.
today.
That's the most fascinating shit to me.
Yes. The movie's a bit of a hit piece on the captain, I think. Like they make him worse than he really was.
Okay, so
That's
let's
true.
talk about the production of the movie.
Well, let's talk about what the movie should be called. Because
Okay.
it's Mutiny on the Bounty, but it's AKA Brando swinging it hard. Because that's legit. It actually has to do with the production as
Yes. So
Yeah, I guess we got to talk about Brando.
well, before Brando, let's start with the production. This is a remake.
Yeah. The movie's
So-
from the 30s. The first one, the original was in the 30s.
1930, 1935.
35?
The first Mutiny on the Bounty is from 1935. This is a remake, and the reason it's remade is because at the time a bunch of remakes had been happening. Now that like Panavision and all that 70
Color.
millimeter color shit is happening, your Ben-Hur remakes, things like that are financially successful. Studios were looking for older movies to
Do over.
do over and make
it
money on.
The big epic treatment.
Exactly. So MGM starts financing Mutiny on the Bounty. They're going to remake it as a big historical epic, and they are calling it 1962's Ben-Hur. That's their plan.
I
It
think
flops.
does it?
Movie flops.
This is not a successful movie.
It was nominated for an Oscar, but it was not financially successful. They lost, I believe, the equivalent of like $70 million today.
Look,
There's a huge
I
reason.
was watching this movie and I saw money being thrown on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
This is an expensive movie.
You saw
know?
money being thrown on the screen. There was even more thrown behind the scenes.
I don't know about any of this stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
It's exciting.
It was
the
fantastic.
production of it is more exciting.
I
than a
thought
lot
it
of
was.
Yeah.
I thought this was not like we talked about when we did Cartoon. Cartoon comes up in every episode we do, by the way.
Yeah.
When we talked about Cartoon, we talked about how it was a wannabe epic that didn't earn it.
Yes.
This movie fucking earned it.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
This is an epic movie in the classical sense, which I love. I love all that shit. You know, the bigger, boisterous, bombastic shit is so good.
The intermission.
Yeah, we got to interact.
Yeah.
We got ridiculous music.
Yeah.
We got-
So what I did before watching this, because I thought it would be cool, I don't really do this. I watched the trailer. And if you're listening and you did not watch this movie yet, pause, watch the trailer, watch the movie, and come back. Or just watch the trailer because it makes the movie look horrible.
The trailer?
The trailer makes the movie look jokey.
Why?
And it's just the way they present it. It's pompous, and it doesn't really reflect what's happening. And it's just, they make it look over the top, action packed,
It's not.
and it's not.
There's barely any action in this at all.
Right. So it's just, I highly recommend watching the trailer first because it really sets the tone that you think you're going into this, and you're like, wait a minute, no, this is actually good.
They probably wanted you to think it was Ben-Hur because Ben-Hur is like this
Yeah.
giant, sword and sandal. You got the races and the galley slaves and shit. This is a think piece.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very actor-driven movie, and of course it's Brando, who is,
He peaked here.
at the time he would probably be called the greatest living actor, right?
Oh, complete game changer to acting itself. There's acting before Brando and after Brando.
right.
Before Brando, you have, and then we got to do this. And,
I recently watched The Ten Commandments.
okay.
And watching it, I hadn't seen it in years. And that's, I think, 55, maybe even earlier.
Sounds about right.
Watching it, I'm like, this is a stage play. This isn't a movie. It's the acting in this movie is like that of people on a stage. They're yelling. They're not talking naturally like human beings. Whereas Brando is credited with giving actors a new lease on life, essentially, in the way they present themselves.
Inventing, method
Modern
acting
acting,
and
yeah.
modern acting, and making things real. He removes that artifice where you feel like you're watching someone in that situation.
That being said, he has a reputation for being an absolute lunatic. He's a
Yes.
crazy person.
He is the first rock star actor, I feel, who's like hoisted on this petard as like, you have your Tom Cruise, your Brad Pitt, these eccentric living
A-listers.
legends, your Will Smiths.
A-listers.
Your A-list giant
But he's-
actors.
Insane.
He was above A-list. He was
Like-
S-list.
Yeah. And like you have stories about stuff that happened on the set of Apocalypse Now later on, and most ridiculous, the island of Dr. Moreau in the 90s. where he
I don't
literally-
think it holds a candle to what he did on
Well,
this.
he would just
Oh no. I don't know if you know about Dr. Moreau. He demanded that he be allowed to wear a bucket of ice on his head in the movie because he was too hot.
That's nothing.
It's in the
compared to
movie.
this.
He's wearing a bucket on his head.
That's nothing compared to this. I'm telling you, it's not.
Okay.
I want to. So to give you a little glimpse, his antics cost the movie $10 million more to produce,
Oh, thank God. I can't wait to get
and
into
the
this.
antics weren't on screen.
It's great. Awesome. I don't know anything about this. I can't wait to learn.
So one quick Brando
This
tidbit.
movie was so much fun.
It's great. It's great.
Brando was actually offered the lead role in Lawrence of Arabia at the same time as this movie, but he chose Mutiny on the Bounty instead because I'd rather go to Tahiti and film than spend weeks in the
He
desert.
picked the right choice.
Yeah.
He got a wife from this movie.
Oh, he married that girl?
Oh,
She's beautiful.
well, do you want to know? Do you want to know a fucking weird thing?
Yeah.
His first wife played that part in the original in 1935.
That's weird.
That is insane.
Isn't that fucking weird?
I did not know that.
How old was she?
I don't know how
She
old.
would have been in her 50s or 60s if that's the case.
Well, it's 1935. Let's say she was 18. You know?
she's probably in her 40s. Yeah.
And he probably kicked her to the curb and he married her and she was 18.
Wow.
But isn't that fucking weird?
That is weird.
And she's a 14 out of 10.
She's ridiculous.
Beautiful girl.
Yeah.
It's insane. So let's get into this. It starts with
Well-
probably the most epic music ever.
Well, before that, I want to talk real
Yeah.
quick about the production, the pre-production. So there were actually 3 books that they wanted to adapt into Mutiny on the Bounty that basically focus on the ship, the original voyage, the mutiny, and then the life of the Pitcairn.
Pitcairn.
Pitcairn, thank you. The Pitcairn guys after.
Oh, they wanted to put that in the movie?
They wanted to put what happened to them after the movie. And Paramount announced a rival movie, because as I've said before, you have your law of twos. I don't know.
MGM?
The MGM made this, but Paramount was going to do their own movie, The Mutineers, just focusing on Pitcairn Island.
Did that come out?
No, it never came out. But they did. We're trying to adapt 3 books into one movie, and the pre-production of this was a nightmare. Marlon Brando signed on for $500,000 plus 10% of all profits.
Wow. That's Jack Nicholson and Batman.
Exactly. Well, he's the first guy to do that shit. Like, people forget how much he made from Superman 78 to just show
He's
up.
barely in it.
Yeah, just to be Jor-El.
Hello,
Krypton. He can't even say Krypton.
Krypton. I
Krypton.
was on Krypton. Buonasera.
All right, so let's begin the movie. Steve, take it away.
yeah, it opens up with some of the most epic music I think I've ever heard from this time. It is so absurdly great.
It's very
very
jaunty.
big.
It's
It's very big.
so jaunty.
It's like Emerson, Lake, and Palmer's Pirates, the greatest song of all
It
time.
is. We listened to that
This
recently.
afternoon.
Yeah. It really paints a picture of what you're about to expect and experience because it's. Oof.
I actually don't remember the music, and I watched this yesterday. The only music I remember, like, because my wife made me fast forward through the Interact because the music was getting on her nerves, and it was all just Tahitian drums.
yeah, it was
Wait,
tribal.
you watched this with your wife?
Yes.
What did she think?
She tapped out. She didn't make it through the whole thing.
It's a long movie.
How far did she get?
She got almost to the end. She was looking at her phone a whole lot. You know, it's women can't watch this. But she was enjoying it. She was all right. So very early on, when Marlon Brando first comes on screen, the two of us lost our minds. We were fucking rolling on the floor laughing at his insane outfit.
Yes.
And the worst accent of all time.
So how this starts is well, don't get into it just yet because you have to. They
But
explain what they're doing.
real quick, she was enjoying it?
Yeah, she liked it.
Okay.
She liked it.
Yeah, they explain what's going on and the mission. So you have this botanist that's looking for a ship in a really like broken down shipyard, and he finds it, and he talks to the crewmen, and they ask what are they doing, and he's like, "Yep, we're gonna go find this breadfruit."
Breadfruit, bro.
And you're just like, what the fuck is breadfruit? I looked it up. It's like a small version of jackfruit. It's like a
That's
hybrid.
what my wife said. She looks like jackfruit.
It looks like jackfruit. It's a small, like almost melon-like jackfruit.
I've never heard of jackfruit.
It has,
Jackfruit's disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah.
from what I've read about it in the last few hours, it has like almost like potato-like qualities. It tastes like bread. It's very starchy, and it has the same like nutrition value as like a potato.
They compare it to a potato.
Yeah.
Like the potato wasn't from here, you
Yeah,
know, and then we
right.
had to plant it and
So
The potatoes from North America.
the goal is that they're going to feed the whole country with this fruit.
Well, no, they want to give so there's actually like an economic crisis happening at this time, historically speaking, because they're going through slaves so quickly in the Caribbean that it's cutting into the profits they're making off of the produce, like sugar. Sugar's the big thing, and they want to get a new cheap source of food that they can feed the slaves that will sustain them. And they think the breadfruit is going to be it. The only thing is the breadfruit grows in Tahiti, and it is on the opposite side of the world from where they need it to be. So the Bounty's mission is to go to Tahiti, pick up some breadfruit, bring it to Jamaica, and see if it's good enough.
Cultivate it.
Yeah, to make stuff happen. And if it works there, maybe they'll bring it to Europe and plant
Feed
it
everyone,
elsewhere.
basically.
I assume this thing needs tropical climate, so I don't know how well it would work in Europe.
Yeah, that's their problem.
But they own Jamaica, so I guess they figure
Yeah.
they can export it.
Right.
Of course.
They have all kinds of colonies all over the place.
And here is where we're introduced to the captain of the ship.
Well, real quick, the botanist, doesn't he look just like Patrick Stewart?
A little bit.
Nah, I didn't get that.
Really? I thought he looked just. I thought it was Patrick Stewart. I was like, no, he can't be alive yet.
I think
I knew it wasn't him when he didn't look at the girls on the ship and go, "It's the key to everything."
This is our chance to make right what has been wrong. He just says nonsense. He sucks.
Well, there's something that happens when the captain walks on the ship here. They do like a whistle announcement, like the little guy stands in the front and whistles. I kind of want that everywhere I go. Like when that's just walking into a place and they whistle just to make sure everyone looks at you.
Just be my dog.
And this is where you see Brando as well,
Yeah,
his
Brando-
first mate,
Brando's
right?
entrance.
My note is Brando is a fancy boy.
He's wearing. Everyone is dressed in like naval attire and ready to go on a ship.
He looks like a
he
silver
pulls up.
pilgrim.
He's got 2 girls on his arms. He's wearing an insane hat, a gray overcoat with red lining on
cape.
the end. Yeah, he's wearing a cape, and he comes. Hello, I'm Marlon Brando in this film, and this is how I sound. And we're rolling. We're fucking rolling. I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this right now. This is unreal. Now, you get used to it midway through the movie where you stop laughing at him and it's like, all right, this is it.
It's
fine.
It's the character.
It's funny you say that because my note is I'm not used to him like this.
No.
Because I've never seen Brando,
You used to Don Corleone.
Don Corleone,
Yeah.
or on the waterfront, you know, even, Jarrell.
So this was
Are you
Brando
an
actually
assassin?
just being himself.
There's stories of him being a homosexual. Right.
He's admitted. He's like, I fucked other dudes.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I see nothing wrong with it. I fucked men. I fucked women. Like, there's no problem.
Yeah, this is him being himself.
There's rumors
in
that
this
he
movie.
was fucking Richard Pryor,
I've heard that.
which Richard Pryor's family denies.
I've heard that. I've heard a lot of stuff.
And what are you going to do? Deny Brando?
Well, Brando, do you know about the rape he committed in a movie?
No.
'Cause
Is Streak on Inside?
No,
Is he in that?
He is in that. So Brando, this is fucked up. Have you guys ever seen Last Tango in Paris?
No.
I've never seen it either. But there's a rape scene, and it's, some of there was things consented to beforehand between him and the actress. And the director, Brando, went to the director. He's like, I have an idea. I'd like to sodomize her with a stick of butter.
Come on. What? Come on.
Swear to God.
I doubt that'll hurt.
It's a
lubricant
if it's
almost.
cold. If it's cold.
It's a lubricant.
You're
That's
not,
what I put on my
Do you want
pan
to
to make
try
eggs.
eggs? Do you want to try this? Do you want to see
I'd
science?
love to.
Let's do science. Yeah. It's not gay. It's science.
It's for the show.
yeah. It's
For the good of the show.
It's for the listeners.
so
Yeah. I do it for you. I take butter in my ass.
So basically,
cold.
he
Cold butter.
he sodomizes this actress without her consent.
Oh, she didn't know? I thought.
Oh, that's brutal.
No, she didn't know it was going to happen. He asked the director. He's like,
Can I
I'm
put
going to
butter?
do this. And the director's like, okay, Brando, because Brando just does whatever he wants. And he rapes this girl on
whatever
camera.
you want, bro. Whatever you want. Whatever you need.
Oh, no, he actually used his dick and raped her.
Well, that changes everything.
Brian, I'm wrong.
This is much
A
less
stick of butter.
This is
No,
what?
versus.
He used butter as lubricant.
I can't tell if he's lying.
I swear to God, no.
So he anally raped a woman on the set on film.
On film.
Yes.
And everybody was like, all right, cool.
This is
Okay.
great acting.
That scene was
He's
not...
he's method.
That
Thanks,
scene was
Marlon.
not in the original script. He raped Maria Schneider, her character Janine, using a stick of butter as lubricant.
And what did she have to say about this?
She obviously...
Probably very angry.
She said, I was so angry. I felt a little humiliated. And to be
A little?
honest... Yeah. I felt a little raped both by Marlon and by Bertolucci.
That was the director?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's penetrating her as she cries and stuff.
And no one arrested him?
Or stopped the scene?
It's Hollywood. There's other...
Wow.
Yeah, so Brando is a fucking nut and
an evil person.
evil. Yeah.
Yeah. But also in this movie specifically, fucking charming.
He's likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly more than Captain Blythe.
Do you consider him handsome? Like, do you find him a handsome man?
He's a handsome.
Yeah, he's handsome.
You're a handsome man,
He's
Mr.
handsome.
Garrison.
I can't get past the jowls.
Even as a young man.
They're so big. Like, it's otherworldly.
Did you ever see him do Mark Antony in Julius Caesar?
No.
He's like the definitive version of that.
Oh.
Like the speech.
Really?
Friends, Romans, countrymen.
Friends. Romans.
Does he deliver it
Although I
in
like
that
Chuck
Brando
Heston.
way?
I like when Chuck Heston does it.
I mean, Heston's always the king, right?
So there's a funny little tidbit about the making of this film right now. The captain, which
Was
everyone
raped by
hates,
Brando.
was raped by Brando using
With
a stick of
margarine.
butter.
He used cream cheese on him.
Hated Brando.
I'm going to make a new type of bagel. You will enjoy this, and so will I.
It's going to be called an English bagel.
We should go watch every Brando movie and say who he would have raped in that movie.
Or who he did.
This one is with locks. He uses only bagel toppings.
Yeah. Marmalade.
Now. Poppy seeds.
This one's a little crazy. I'm going to use peanut butter. The kids will like it.
Kids like it.
Oh my god. It's for the kids. So the captain, everyone hates him, and he's very hateable.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
He's just angry and cantankerous. Now,
And it's because he hates Brando in real life.
oh, yeah?
Oh yeah.
The actor.
Brando, specifically during scenes, would plug his ears and not do the scene with him. And just say what he wanted and what he thought he was saying. And it would drive the captain insane. He would walk away from him at like the wrong time and shit. So it was, but it drove
they
him
have to do
so
1,000 takes?
angry. Yeah.
And they're really on a boat.
And and Brando would purposely, like, if he wasn't in a take, so if like you guys were being framed, he would just stand in front of the camera and not move.
Yes. Because he has to be on film at all times.
Dude, what the fuck?
Dude, it cost the production an extra $10 million.
Jesus. It's like, so people are doing a scene and he'll just come.
He'll just stand in front of the camera, be
what
Brando.
Are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah, do something. I'm
Do
Marlon Brando.
something.
Yeah.
You want me to rape a child? I will.
Do you want to be next with the jelly?
How about I use jab?
What is it? What? This is a pirate movie? All right, we'll use grog.
I like preserves myself. I like when the jam has fruit in it. It's ribbed. It's ribbed for my pleasure.
So yeah, he drove people utterly insane.
By the way, they built a real replica of this boat in Nova Scotia and sailed it to Tahiti.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
So it's a
They
real
did it.
fucking ship.
They did it.
I want to say something about the real history here. Captain Bligh supposedly handpicked his first officer of Fletcher Christian, the man who would eventually mutiny on him. He was almost like his protege in real life. So the fact that the movie starts with them kind of being antagonistic right off the bat is kind of not accurate.
No.
Or yeah. So I thought I'd just point that out.
And if you look into it, the mutiny never happened because of what happened in the movie. It was a little bit different, which we'll touch upon.
Yeah.
Did you know about the Rotten Pumpkins?
No, that.
What's
no.
the Rotten Pumpkins? Is that like a sister
Apparently-
Smashing Pumpkins cover band?
So Captain Bligh.
1989. Dude,
It's 1979.
but they're a shitty cover band. They're the Rotting Pumpkins. See?
Yes,
I got the year wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Feels like a stab in the stomach every time.
So Bligh had actually sailed with Captain Cook 20 years earlier. They mention it in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. Captain Cook is one of the most famous explorers ever.
Also, the best chef in the British Navy.
That's
Hence
true.
the name
Yes,
Cook.
that's what he's known for. He makes a wonderful souffle. He had been to Tahiti before. He was on that first mission. Interesting, weird thing. Like it was the transit of Venus. You ever hear of that?
No.
No.
It's like an eclipse with Venus, where it goes like across the sun. And people knew this was coming, like astrologers. So they wanted people in different spots all over the earth to watch it and compare notes. And by doing this, they would be able to exactly figure out the distance of the earth to the sun somehow. I don't know how
That's
the math
genius.
works. Yes. So they sailed guys all over the world to measure shit at the same time. And one of the people had to be in Tahiti. So Captain Cook took the guys there. And
Did he miss his measurements because he was fucking nonstop?
no, no, it went off without a hitch. Everybody was successful. But the translator guy that they meet later, the guy who speaks English, I think that character is probably based on a real dude who they brought back from that first trip and was being brought back on this return journey. Like he had come to Europe. He's a Tahitian that went to Europe and then brought back. So that guy spoke English and knew how to translate.
He learned English so they could learn that language, and now
Yeah.
he's coming back and they can communicate.
Right. I forgot where I was going with this, so just continue.
Anyway, so there's
Anyway, good job, Max.
so this is the first sign of things going wrong. There's broads on the ship. Brando brought girls on the ship.
My wife said this. She goes, "Oh, that's bad luck. Don't
That
do
is
it."
bad luck, 100%. I was like, oh, they're doomed right there.
But they don't stay.
You can't bring broads on a ship. That's why every cruise ship
What
falls
about the
into
Mayflower?
That's why every cruise ship falls into the
The sea.
sea.
Yeah, they have women on them.
They all just
sink.
perish.
Yeah, like within 10 minutes of leaving dock.
I went on
No cruise ship has ever made it?
None.
Wow.
They made a movie about one of them.
What was it called?
Poseidon.
No, Carnival. It was about the Carnival Cruise Line. Hit by a giant wave in the Pacific, just completely sunk.
Oh, my God.
There was the Heart of the Sea Stone. It was red, a red jewel. Maybe you've seen this.
Carnival.
Cameron James.
Diaz?
No,
Cameron James.
Cameron James
James.
directed it. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
big budget movie.
Made a lot of money for
Yeah.
everyone involved.
Yeah. So there's broads on the ship.
Cameron James.
Carnival.
The ship setting sail with the Britannia music is so fucking good looking.
Dude, that
Yeah.
was when I realized we were watching something great. Was when the ship sailed away.
It's beautiful looking.
Yes.
It's a real ship, and you got Britannia.
But that's not the best use of that music in the movie, though.
No, later on it gets way better. And it's also kind of sailing.
So let's talk about this route.
It's terrifying.
So they
Well, they have two choices,
have
right?
two choices. You can go around the Cape of Good Hope, around Africa, which is the long way. It is also the safer way. Or you can go around Cape Horn in South America. This is an extremely dangerous passage. It's only been done by a handful of people up to this point.
Magellan?
Francis Drake had done it. Magellan had done it. They had the Straits of Magellan, yeah.
A lot of people died doing it.
Now, I have an idea to do it quicker. What if we went to like a southern American country, something like Panama, and we dug like some sort of thing that allowed a ship to pass through?
Brilliant.
You mean a canal?
Yeah. Do you think it could
I
work?
don't think that sounds feasible to me. That seems way too much effort.
You're probably right.
They thought about doing it, but Brando read the thing wrong, and he said "see anal," and everyone was scared.
C C anal. What's the C stand for?
Why don't we find out? Get me that butter.
So
Sea anal is fucking.
Bly wants to make this route as quickly as possible because if they don't get there by October, the breadfruit will be bad and they won't be able to move it. So he's like, let's go for Cape Horn. And the first section of this movie is them trying to get through the Straits of Magellan. And there's storms and there's giant waves.
And you realize traveling in this time period is
brutal
utterly
as fuck.
terrifying.
You're actually missing some stuff.
Oh, okay.
So there's a cheese thief.
Oh, the cheese scene. This is real.
But this sets the precedent, right?
That happened.
That's
after
when we first
the storm. I think,
no, it's in the beginning. It's the
Yeah.
first sense we get that he is a piece of shit.
Yep. And he lashes the guy 24 brutal whips.
Well, let's explain it. The botanist man, who's there for breadfruit purposes, sees a seaman steal cheese, and he goes to the captain. And he says, "This guy stole some cheese. What are you going to do about it?" So the captain puts Marlon Brando on it to figure out what's going on. So Brando does a little investigation, and the captain comes along and just stops him immediately and is like, "Just be done with it. Make sure that just take the cheese ration away from everybody until it's paid off what was stolen." And now this guy's forced to go back down into the hull, and all the guys are mad at him because now their cheese is fucked. And he's like, "You stole the cheese." And he's like, "Nah, I didn't really steal the cheese. The captain told me to do it and give it to him." So the captain is the one that stole the cheese. And now he's punishing everyone for it. And it's like, oh, you're a piece of shit.
And the captain hears it.
He hears him say that the captain's a thief.
He goes, "Oh,
And now
now you got to punish him."
24 lashes.
24
Two
lashes,
dozen.
2 dozen.
Yeah.
Now,
Do you think it was a baker's dozen?
What is a baker's dozen?
13. So
'cause you have
it's
one
12
extra.
and you get 1 extra.
knowing that bastard, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's 2 things here that I want to bring up.
It's shot like Roots.
Yeah, it is.
It's before Ruse.
It is pre-Roots, but it's shot the same way, like the same close-ups.
You think Roots took a hint from this?
Probably. I mean, this is a pretty big budget scene. It's a whipping scene that's pretty vicious.
Jesus took 39.
Well, this guy's not
Just saying.
Jesus. No, he's a regular sailor.
2 things. One is in the movie, then one is the real life. So I want to start with in the movie. Before they start whipping them, they go on hats, and everybody has to put their hat on. Anybody catch this?
I didn't even notice that.
I miss this.
Yeah. So right before the lash starts, he goes on hats, and they all put their fancy hats on and stand there in order.
Oh,
It's
I
almost
do
like putting a
remember
suit
this,
on,
yes.
right? And I didn't understand why that is a thing,
It's
ever.
naval discipline.
I guess, yeah.
for being formal at all times.
And then I kind of want to briefly mention about the real captain. Was not into whipping. Was not into physical punishment.
Yes.
He was into raping with butter.
was in-
fact, he was actually known as being quite lenient.
He was demoralizing with his words.
Uh-huh.
He would
Yep.
rip you to shreds in front of everyone, make you feel horrible, and that is actually why the mutiny happened, not the whipping.
I just remembered why I brought up Captain Cook before. Captain Cook was into vegetables. He made his crew
butter?
eat vegetables, whereas other captains wouldn't do this. And this helped with scurvy and stuff, but they didn't understand that at the time. So this guy Bly, another thing I have to point out is he's not a captain.
no,
In real
it's
life,
not.
he's a lieutenant. And essentially, he was told by the Admiralty Board, complete this mission and we'll talk about getting you the promotion you want. So he has a lot invested in this going off properly. So he wants to do the vegetable thing. So he forces the guys to do a couple of things. One of them is he takes away, hang on. He takes away cheese and stuff and forces them to eat rotten pumpkins because they replaced their bread ration with rotten pumpkins.
Oh, wow.
So they hate that. They're not big on the.
They had to go to Pumpkin Hill.
Yes, they're like Knuckles.
Yeah, and find all the lost Chaos Emeralds.
He forced them to keep their shirts and their hammocks clean. They hated that too because apparently seamen are very dirty.
Is it?
Yes, and
Yeah.
he made them dance every night, which they thought made him look weak. They didn't like dance. He made them have fucking fun dances every single night. to like break up the day and monotony.
Yeah,
and they don't
sounds like he was
it.
pretty good.
But they think like, why am I doing this? I feel like a jerk.
Yeah,
off.
of course.
It's when you want to dance, it's one thing,
Right.
But when you're forced to dance,
Right.
it's like this sucks.
So like it just fostered this whole attitude of animosity towards him while they were on this trip. So anyway, back to the movie. They're trying to get through Cape Horn, and the sea is brutal, and it's cold, and they're freezing. Some barrels get loose.
Well, there's a great line.
There's a scene.
Where he's talking to, and I think this is kind of one of the like main themes of the movie. Captain Bligh is talking to Brando, and he says, "What makes a man go along? Fear, fear of this battle station."
Yes. They'll keep the other systems in line.
Cruelty
Yes.
with a purpose is efficient.
Yes, and he is Machiavellian, and he wants to rule with fear, and that is his
So
ethos.
Yeah,
or
you
ethos.
whip the one guy, and it keeps everybody else in line.
Exactly. And he basically set that whole cheese situation up just so he would end up having an excuse to whip somebody and set the tone for the trip.
Which
'Cause
seems
it
sadistic.
shows them eating the block of cheese.
Yeah.
And Brando has an amazing line here, if you recall.
What's the line?
He says you got to be careful. That cheese probably looks a little sour.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't want to eat
He
it.
doesn't want to eat it.
Oh,
Yes.
right. When
So it immediately shows there's a disconnect between what they're doing.
So the weather says that they shouldn't go to through South America, but they decide to, as Ant says, and it's heavy weather filled with contempt. And then we get the ship in the storm scene, which is fucking
Nightmarish.
awesome looking.
Yes.
Think of nightmares. Legit nightmares.
I honestly, how did they film this?
I was wondering that myself.
I don't know.
Because I know, like, for something like Titanic, you're on a stage and you fill it with water.
I mean, Carnival.
Carnival, yeah. But
I think they were on a stage.
They have to be,
I
right?
think they're on a stage, and it's just really good filming techniques because it's a mix of miniatures, it's a mix of other backgrounds.
that could have been miniatures.
Probably the shots, but when they're actually on the boat themselves, it still also probably could have been because it's all dark shots, you know. So
So
it looks great for that year. I'll say that.
Some barrels get loose below deck. These giant barrels that are filled with water. They're drinking water, and they got to get them wrapped up again. But they can't do it unless they steady the ship. And Captain Bligh is forcing them to keep the sails open because he's trying to make as much time as possible and use the storm to his advantage. Brando orders them to
Into the
cut
wind.
the sails so that the ship will steady out and they can put the barrel back up. And just as they're about to do it, Bligh comes by and loses his mind and forces them to open the sails again. And then the barrel falls over and crushes a man to death.
Yep.
And this is the first casualty.
And they did it at by tacking is what it's called.
Yes,
they
tacking
mention it,
into
which
the
is
wind.
going into the wind and not going with it.
Yes.
Then the storm slows down, and they're like, hey, can we just halt the ship for a burial service? And Bligh is like, nope,
Keep going.
we keep going.
Now, the weather actually beats them.
Yeah.
They don't make it through Cape Horn. He's forced to give up. Like they kept the tacking. You know, it's slow work. Like the way, as far as I understand, I'm not a sailor, but you kind of get a piece of the wind on an angle, and you go a little bit to the left, and then you cut it, and you go a little bit to the right, and you keep trying to do that over and over again. But
It's a lot of work.
It's a ton of work, and if it's a slow moving process, and they actually end up losing like 4 weeks doing this. They're still in the same fucking spot, so they're forced to just give up and turn around. So now they've lost a ton of time because now they have to recross the Atlantic Ocean.
And a pig. Pig flew right off the boat.
Dude, that was a pig, right?
Yeah. You heard it squealing and
Yes.
it went right off the boat. You're like, no.
Poor pig.
And there's a scene here where I think the captain is reprimanding someone and Brando is in his room with the smoking pipe. Do you recall this?
Yes.
And he's in silk linen
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
and a silly sleeping hat.
he's wearing a silly hat.
It's insane.
Yeah, the captain's yelling at a guy for like mouthing off or something. And Brando's just listening.
He's not paying
He has nothing to do with the scene, but they just show him in his room.
Oh, he's in a Scrooge hat.
Yes.
He's in a Scrooge hat and a nightie for some reason, just laying there.
And he's drinking.
And then he gets
he's
up and he goes,
smoking-
"Oh, I thought I heard you."
He's
and
smoking
he goes,
a pipe that's like 3 feet long. It's
so
amazing.
wacky.
They also they swung by South Pole and they got a bunch of like Jamaica Jacks and button down shirts from 2003. They were looking styling when they went to the South Pole.
Okay.
They did pass the South Pole, right?
They're close to it. Yeah.
I thought they did, like that scene with all the snow and shit.
I think that was the Straits. I don't.
Yeah, because it's not the pole. If they go to the pole, they're
they can't
dead.
Get to the south. It's in the middle of Antarctica.
But I assumed that they were close to it,
yeah,
right?
They were close.
So now they have to recross the Atlantic Ocean, which they do very quickly. In real life, when they get to Cape Town in South Africa,
The lady sang that song.
what song?
Well, the
Cape Town
ladies.
ladies.
That's the Camp Town ladies.
Yeah, they sing the song.
Doodar.
Doodar.
Christian, who is Brando, wants, this isn't in the movie, he wants to buy presents for his family, and he asks Bly for money, and Bly gives it to him. But then for the rest of this entire adventure, Bly is hounding him for the cash back. And it's part of like the whole animosity between the two men.
Wow.
Anyway, so now they've passed through the Cape Horn, not Cape of Good Hope, and are now heading east into the Indian Ocean. They crossed 3 fucking oceans in this movie.
They go really far.
There's a great line that Bly has. A seaman with an education is like a singing pig.
He plays such a hateable character.
He starts whipping everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. He loves corporal punishment. Did we get does anything really go on
They
between
get to
this point and Tahiti?
They see Land Ho,
Yeah. They just get to Tahiti.
and Captain Cook is dead.
Captain Cook is dead?
I think they say Captain Cook is dead.
Oh yeah, well he's been dead.
Yeah, but
He was killed by like Hawaiians.
They make mention of that he died from natives. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, he pissed them off.
A native shows up and he has the conch,
The conch.
which means he is the only one that's allowed to speak.
As Lord of the Flies dictates.
Yes, exactly.
And there's
Piggy,
a lot of
you know.
people with paddle boats swimming out to the
There's amazing. There's so many people on
I
screen.
think it was
yeah.
4,000 extras.
Really.
Yeah, like a serious amount.
And they're very outnumbered.
Oh yeah, but they're friendly.
It's actually
Yeah.
scary that like seeing that many people, even if you don't know if they're friendly.
But
or
you
not.
don't know it first, really.
You don't know for sure. They do arm the party that goes ashore. They give them guns and stuff. But they have had contact with these people before and have done business with them. So they kind of have a good idea of what to expect.
They gave them baubles and trinkets.
Baubles.
Can we talk
Bubbles.
about the king's hat?
Yeah. So
That's a hat.
The king of the Tahitians comes in from off screen, and before you see him at all, you see his hat for like an extended period of time. You see the top of his hat. And as I was looking at it, I said to my wife, I was like, please let that be a hat. Because you don't know what it is. It looks like a fucking totem pole.
Yeah, it looks like some decorative thing.
And I'm like, I hope that's a hat. And sure enough, it was a hat.
It's like,
It's
I think you're like, this is the best movie ever made.
It's just tons of feathers and
blue,
boas,
it's blue and
ridiculous
red,
stuff.
and he's wearing a cape too. And it's just insane.
And there's
that's
topless chicks everywhere.
everywhere. And here's a mirror. We're gonna fuck your woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give him a mirror, and he starts laughing at it.
Yeah, the king is a bit of a goofball.
He's happy. He's having a good time.
Yeah.
He's living in a tropical paradise. You don't got to worry about nothing. We find out that they believe a diet of breadfruit can sustain life.
Yes.
Now, does breadfruit have like tremendous nutritional value?
I imagine if it's like a potato, if it, like I'm just basing this off the potatoes. Yeah, I mean, look at the Irish. So
Does it even exist anymore to know?
yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard of it before yesterday.
Me either. I really want to try one though.
Do we have to make that like segments on the show now? Like if there's something in a movie, maybe we should go out to try to like get
I'm still
that
waiting for
kind
that
Yeah.
BNS.
You're right. We haven't done it.
I haven't had a BNS.
That's because it sounds disgusting.
I think it sounds great.
So then we see a really cool dance scene
Yeah.
and their fishing method. I
Love the fishing scene.
It's so cool.
So cool.
the Tahitians, all the women go out in like this straight, and they stand with a net, and they're standing in like waist high water with this net, and then all the men come in on canoes, and they beat the water with clubs so that the fish just kind of run away from them into the net.
Such a genius fishing method.
Yeah, I imagine if you're going to live in a place like that, you need to master this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it takes the whole like village. Like everyone is there.
You
It's
have
insane.
to.
They give like a population of the island. I think it's something crazy, like 200,000 or something, right?
I don't remember that specifically. I wouldn't be surprised. What happens next is they bring the plant on board. The botanist is not sure if the plant that the king has given them will live.
They have to wait and see if it'll sustain itself.
Yes,
in the
they're not
pot.
sure.
Right. So now
And-
they're going to be on the island a while.
And Bly is forced to dance,
Great scene.
Yes.
and his dancing
scene.
is hysterical. It should be a GIF
Yeah.
or a GIF, whatever you want to say.
All right, I'm on it.
Like, it's an incredible dance, right?
Yeah, he's just desperately trying to have rhythm and fails.
Flailing.
Yeah.
Flailing his arms.
We find out that the mission is a failure.
Yeah, well, the breadfruit does.
Yes.
So now what has happened is they've gotten there too late. So they've missed the season where they can harvest it.
Yep.
So now they have to wait almost an entire year or several months. I think they're there for 5 or 6 months
Months.
for a new batch of breadfruit. So it's like, okay, guess we're sitting in Tahiti with all these people.
Yep.
And the sailors start going nuts. And by nuts I mean they're fucking everyone.
They're welcomed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Because
guess
the
They're
Tahiti
viewed
people-
as, like, gorgeous.
Yeah, the Tahiti people say white
Any-
complexion is gorgeous, and even like an ugly white person is the most beautiful thing they've ever seen.
according to them.
According to them.
And this movie, who knows how
According to-
real
yeah,
it is.
right.
But in real life, they were fucking nonstop.
Yeah, well, the culture, I guess, on the island, it's not a Christian culture by any means. So they're very free with fucking.
Yeah.
It's like a sign of goodwill.
Endearment.
It's
too.
pure hedonism, yeah.
Right. So these sailors are they're getting their rocks off.
Yep. And supposedly later on, when like the trials come up, they are kind of excused of their behavior. And even Bly is like, Bly is the only man who in real life does not participate in any fucking.
No.
And he does allow everyone else to fuck, including Brando. And he's like, any man would be tempted by this. Like, it's so hedonistic, it'd be impossible not to succumb, basically.
I think that signed his death warrant. Well, not his death; he doesn't die. But it pretty much made the mutiny a sure thing.
Yes, because these people were
They've become accustomed.
they were in paradise for 5 months, fucking nonstop.
Right.
And now
And now
you're
you
on a
put them
ship
and
with
try to
sweaty seamen.
trying to instill discipline.
Yes. Good luck. They've lived the good life.
Right.
They
don't
try to
wanna
escape.
Go back.
It's like going back to work after a vacation is the fucking worst thing in the world.
Imagine that times 1,000.
Yes. Like, it's like, yeah, I would kill the motherfucker who's
1,000
telling me to do
is-
some shit job.
Understatement.
Right, yeah.
1,000. It's a million.
Clean out that shitter. Meanwhile,
you.
like, I was fucking a bunch of Tahitian tens
Yeah.
like a week ago. Like, I would just kill myself, probably.
This is where Christian meets the chief's daughter.
Well, my next note
Yep.
is Brando gonna fuck.
Yep. I put he moves fast.
Yeah. So
In real, I think this was pure like legit. They were gonna do a scene, and Brando was like, "No, I'm gonna fuck her," and they just filmed him wooing her.
Does anybody have any dairy?
I like this breadfruit.
So
do you think this breadfruit will fit? Do you think it'll fit?
in me.
I'm going to sit on it now.
But these bring some of my favorite scenes in this movie. This little
This whole
interaction
section's
here
great.
is so funny.
It's very colorful. The music's good.
It's gorgeous, the cinematography.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a beautiful movie.
Yes. He gets called back to the ship, and it's like an insult that he didn't have sex with the king's daughter.
He's in mid-process of having sex
And
with
Bly
this woman.
cockblocks
Yep,
him.
he gets cockblocked.
Yes, he sends him back to the ship to do nonsense, and then this actually makes the natives furious.
Yeah.
And they want to revoke the breadfruit.
So Blige is saying you gotta well, first off, before he even goes to Blige, I think the translator comes and is like, you insulted us. You have to go back and have sex with her. And he goes, can you go tell
You
Blige?
better tell
You got to
him."
tell the captain. He's not going to believe me. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
it's played for laughs.
Yeah.
definitely.
Because
And-
you don't see that coming either.
No,
You think
no.
because they set it up, you think the opposite is about
Right,
to happen.
yeah.
Because you don't know how sexually promiscuous the culture is yet.
Yeah.
You know, so you're like, oh shit, they're about to fucking like Brando
everyone.
just
Yeah.
fucked everything up.
Yeah, you think they're going to kill him.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have to go back and finish your job.
And then the best use
This is
of
the best scene.
Rule Britannia of
best
all
scene.
time.
Blige tells him you got to go back for the mission.
Yes. For
And
king
Brando
country.
doesn't believe it. He's like, can I get this in writing? Or like, and he goes, no, you got to go. So he goes to this little boat to go back to the island. And during this entire scene, it is the most glorious music playing.
Dun, 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 dun,
Da,
dun,
da, da,
dun,
da,
dun.
da. And it's just Brando going to have sex with the 14 out of, like it's insane. It's insane.
So he goes, he bangs the girl, and the breadfruit's back on the menu.
He
boys.
he had to plug her for England.
Yes.
That was
Lie
the-
down and think of England.
My note is heroic music to go bang. Then I wrote, they're all banging. So everybody's fucking now.
I don't know, how accurate is this?
Very.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
insane.
Like for everything I've read about this, this is what went down. So some time passes.
5 months in real life.
Yes. And now it's time to be on the move again. And all these guys are forced to tell these people and women that they've been with all this time, I'm leaving. See you later. Never see you again. And immediately it's back to the hard labor, hard discipline, and there's a
Bly is a bigger dickhead than before.
there's a new aspect with the water thing.
Yes.
Now, I did not see anything about this water thing in real life research. I just saw it in the movie, and I think it's a great little way to make it happen in the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's based in fact.
No, I don't think it's based in fact that much. One thing, people were punished because they were late to the ship and they were accused of being.
Oh, we forgot about the deserters.
That's what I'm saying. Were they actual deserters?
Yes.
So Fletcher, Christian, his name is Christian Fletcher, right?
Yes.
Fletcher Christian is Marlon Brando.
Okay. Fletcher is his first name. All right. So Fletcher brings them back.
Yeah.
I thought that they were just late. So
No, they were trying to desert.
No,
There
they,
were
they
three
wanted
guys,
to stay in Tahiti.
3 guys tried to desert, but they got caught and were put in irons and put on the
To be
ship.
hung to death.
That's in the movie. Did that happen in real life? Did you guys see?
there
any
was
of that?
one guy. Actually, no, it's after the mutiny. There's a guy who stays behind on Tahiti and assimilates to the culture and like gets like tattoos and like fully becomes a Tahitian dude.
Fletcher got a tattoo in real life.
In real life, yeah. No, but there's a guy who stays on Tahiti that doesn't go to Pitcairn.
There's a couple of them
Pitcairn,
that do, and those are the guys that get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one guy who like fully stays behind for years. I
He
think.
actually,
A few of them.
I think
were
so.
a few of them were put to death.
Yes, 6
Not
of them.
all of them, but a
6
few.
of them.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Which imagine like going to paradise, experiencing that, and being put to death for it. Like that sucks.
Let's talk about this water thing.
Okay.
So the breadfruit, there's like a bunch of them now. They got like tons of.
They're everywhere.
He's trying to overcompensate for being late. I
Yes.
think. So they got like 1,000 specimens, and they need water to water them, and it's cutting into the drinking water. So the botanist guy is like, "Look, some of them are going to die. We're going to lose a bunch of these because if we don't, we'll run out of water." You know. So he puts a ladle. Like everyone's drinking freely at this point. Whenever they want, they can take a ladle and go over one of these barrels of drinking water and have a drink. He has a guard posted at the barrel, takes a ladle and hangs it up in the mizzen mast of the ship. And if you want to drink water, you have to climb up, get the ladle, take one ladle full, and then put it back. And that's it. And people are really not having a good time with this. Everybody starts fucking getting all dehydrated. One guy hasn't had a drink in 2 days, and he almost dies. And somebody
Well, he drinks the
Ocean
he
water.
drinks
is that
seawater.
that guy? Is it the same guy?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
This is what sets it off.
So one guy starts drinking
Actually,
seawater.
no, we missed something. Someone kills themselves.
He doesn't kill himself. He tries to get the ladle.
Oh, I thought it was a suicide.
No, he
Goes
had a
up
fever.
to get the ladle and he falls
He had a fever and he fell to his
okay.
death.
and he dies. Yeah.
I thought he was rotoscoped his death.
Who gets the keel the keel bow thing with the shark?
It's the... Who was that guy?
Did that happen yet? Did I skip that? I don't think so.
No, it happens around the same time. These
Yeah.
three things happen. The guy falls to his death. They find a guy who was stealing something.
Water.
I think he was stealing water, so they tie him to that thing.
Oh, I know what happens. The guy who falls off and dies. Another guy's so angry he punches Bly in the face.
Yes.
So now this guy's gonna be, I forgot what they call it. It's keel bow, I think, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
They're taking ropes. This is very cool, very fucking fuck. It's illegal. They get it's not part of normal discipline. But Bly orders this done. They take ropes, they throw him overboard, and then they drag his body. He's alive under the ship, and they're supposed to pull him up in the front. But while they're doing this, sharks come and eat the guy,
Yeah, they get him.
and he just dies.
Yeah. And Bly's just like, whatever, cut the rope loose.
whatever. Yeah. All the while, these guys that were arrested for deserting, they're still being made to work. So they come out of the hole whenever it's time to work, and they let them work. So these guys have an opportunity to put in Christian's ear a little bit of encouragement to start a mutiny.
They just say numbers. So that's one.
Well, he's saying how many
Oh, that's
are dying,
two.
right?
How can you let this go on?
Because he says we're going to lose half the crew before we get to where we got to go. Mm-hmm. And Christian's like, no, we're not.
But
He's like,
it's
then he starts counting, and it's only been 3 days, and 3 people die.
right. So
And Tahiti's in the back of everyone's mind.
yes, they just left.
And there's a guy who drinks bilge water, and he's suffering and dying, and he needs real water.
This scene is so good.
And Brando is ordered not to, and he's like, fuck you. And he goes and gets the water, and he gives it to the guy.
The guy's gonna die. The guy, because from drinking seawater, he's going insane. His mind is gone. So he's trying to give him good water to flush out the salt. If they don't do this, this man will die. And Bly says, nope, you're not giving him water. So then he takes the water and he goes to give it to him, and Bly kicks it out of his hand, and then
Brando punches him.
Brando punches him. And now it's like, okay, it's all or nothing now. It's either we go all the way or you're going to prison.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's mutiny time. And he pulls the sword out.
I was pretty surprised about this.
What?
I did not see this coming. Like, the guys
The fucking
overthrowing-
movie's called Mutiny on the Bounty.
I just didn't see it coming. I thought it was a misdirect. I really did. I thought they were gonna subvert my expectations. And they all just get along and they make it easily.
What's that director's name?
J.J. Abrams?
No, the last
Ryan Johnson.
Rianne Johnson.
Yeah. Rianne Johnson's Mutiny on the Bounty. They just get everywhere. Oh, that was great. What a lovely trip.
I said in my notes, about time. Now Hall asked for Tahiti. And that's what they do.
But they can't.
They have to send the guys out.
Bly, he's put on a ship now this is really a fascinating thing that happens. It's not in the movie, but the real life shit. So they take Bly, who apparently is one of the greatest navigators of all time. They put him on a rowboat with a sail, a sextant, 18 men, and food and water for all of them. 2 days from where the position is an island called
I had it too.
I have it. Tofua. So they go
That's
there.
where tofu originates from.
It's
Of course.
ethnically.
It's native.
It's the ethnic tofus.
Yeah.
So they sail to Tofua because they have nowhere else to go. Not in the movie.
I've got nowhere else to go.
And when they get there, they're immediately attacked by the natives. The natives try and kill them. So now they've the next closest place that's a safe harbor we can get to is the Dutch colony of Timor.
Timor. Kopang, Timor.
It's 5,000 miles away.
Yep.
Jesus.
And these fucking guys are in what amounts to an overcrowded rowboat.
Yeah.
And somehow these guys sail across the Pacific all the way to this place.
It took them from May 2nd to the 14th of June.
41 days.
in like a
Insane.
dinghy.
Moses shit.
Yeah.
In a dinghy.
This is one of the greatest feats of navigation ever.
Well, they had a sextant too. That's the main thing. That thing was
That made it possible.
needed for
Without-
navigation.
What is a sextant?
It's like a gold, silver, basically a metal.
Oh, that's the thing that Brando goes back for at
Yes,
the end. But
yeah,
what
yeah.
is it exactly?
It's
You
a
use the,
navigation system.
Look
So
at the
it's
stars.
Yeah.
And figure out where your position is on Earth.
okay.
I'm not exactly sure.
It's kind of like a telescope thing that plots it.
kind
almost.
of, yeah.
All right.
It has a lot to do with like the angle that you're traveling at, and it has a bunch of little magnifying glasses so you can point different areas at different angles to like triangulate your position on a map.
a lot of
Sextants.
math involved.
Oh yeah.
Sextants. How do they work?
Now, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's the greatest feat of navigation, but it's got to be up there. The only thing I could think of other is the Maori, the people that inhabit these islands. They got there from somewhere.
Yeah.
Way back in the ancient past. Like, how did they get to Hawaii? You know?
Yeah, how does that happen?
They also, before Blight, at least in the movie, before he gets off, he goes, "Take your flag with you," and he gives him his whip. I thought
Yeah.
that was a really cool send off.
So, meanwhile, on
Now-
the Bounty.
Well, this is the elephant in the room. Is Fletcher expecting that they will all just die and this won't be a problem?
No.
No,
So why not just execute them all?
No,
because
no,
it
no,
makes
no.
you a bigger criminal.
Yeah. He's not a murderer, you know? And in real life, this guy was kind of his mentor. So he sends him off, but he feels like he's owed something, and he takes control. Because Fletcher Christian is a highborn dude. He's a
Gentlemen.
he's a aristocrat.
Yeah, he's a
Blythe is
pompous guy.
lowborn. Blythe is not part of the aristocracy.
Oh.
So there's that whole.
He's a
element,
working
too.
man.
Yeah. What else? What? Oh, sorry.
So one thing with this is that Bly in real life was just verbally abusing Fletcher, and that's really what kickstarted this. He just kept harassing him and digging at him and digging at him.
And also, by all accounts, the men respected Christian. They liked him.
Yeah.
So he had a couple of guys. They got together. He's the ring. He in the movie, it's like forced upon him.
It's something he has to do.
In real life, it's probably closer to he's an ambitious guy and thinks he deserves to be the captain and not this guy.
Yeah, you're probably
But
right.
once this goes down, you are a criminal. Everyone involved in this has a death sentence. That's it. So what do you do? Where can you go? Australia does not exist yet. You know, there's no colony there. There's nothing in New Zealand.
Got to run somewhere.
If I'm them, like I was thinking about this, like where would you go? I was thinking go to fucking California or South America and try and blend in with the Spanish. But
Is California already, the Spanish already are there?
yes,
Okay.
You show up with a ship that's English of
Yeah.
type, they're probably going to shoot at you.
But they're traitorous to England, so they
they're
may
going to shoot at you, yeah.
keep in mind this is also they are unaware, but war has just been declared with the French. It's 1789 now, and there's that whole element.
The
too.
revolution is just about wrapping up too,
It's
right?
been over. It's over before they even left.
Okay.
The French Revolution is just starting.
Yeah.
But they end up going back to Tahiti because I guess they need to resupply,
Yeah.
and
They want their women.
they want their women, and they end up recruiting some Maori people to join them. Now, in real life, these people were all kidnapped.
Yeah, they took them all.
They stole them.
They took the girls too.
Yes. And they spend the next couple of months while Blythe is sailing across the fucking earth. They are going to all these little islands and trying to find a place to live.
Yep.
And they end up stumbling on Pitcairn Island.
Which were mischarted.
Yes. So this has been mischarted in the past, and on every British naval code book and chart, it is in the wrong spot. So the only way they're going to get found is by accident.
Exactly. It increases their odds.
It is a brilliant spot to
Yes.
stop.
Yes. Now, in real life, here's what happens. Blythe actually somehow makes it all the way back to England and immediately puts his side of the story out into the press.
Well, I
into
think the
public.
Dutch find him and
He
they
makes it to Timor, and the Dutch bring him home.
yeah.
So he gets back home, starts telling people want to know what the fuck happened.
Where's the bounty?
Yes, and he gets his side of the story, and he's hailed as like this hero. That will go on for a while. He's given a new command on a warship because now England is at war, and he ends up, he ends up in the Pacific. At one point, he's offered the governorship of New South Wales, which is the new Australian colony. He does not accept it, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of guys stay on Tahiti. This is in the movie too.
Yes.
Immediately, the British come and pick them up. So
Yep.
they are arrested and brought back to England in chains. Those guys start telling a different story than the one Blythe has told people, and it kind of sours his reputation, and that's why we have the view of him that we do today. It's a lot of misinformation and discrediting each other. No one really knows what really went down.
I think it depends on when you're born and what account you've heard. Because I believe the original version of the movie, Bly is the hero.
Oh, yeah?
I believe so. And I think that was even possibly the original intent of the script.
Until Brando
That
signed
was
it.
Until-
correct.
Now-
That was 100% correct.
Now, I was right?
You were right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the funny thing about this is, and when I teach my film class, I talk about this. When you watch any movie, think about the context of the culture it's made in and what is happening, right?
Okay. So what do you have to say about this?
So think about this. We're coming out of 50s America, right?
Yes.
We're entering the 60s. It hasn't happened yet fully, but we're approaching an anti-authoritarian hippie age.
Yes.
Filled with rebellion and youth and sex.
And Brando's the hot young guy.
Brando's the hot young guy. And this is symbolic of that, even at like a
This
level
early stage.
they may not even be aware it's happening, but it's just something in the air with your casting and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, and you could see that in tons of things, like when you look at different movies and the way they work and stuff. Like, I was watching the first Spider-Man. I was showing my class that
From 2000.
from 2002.
Oh, right.
And it's so clear that this was, and all the superhero shit that follows, it's so clear that this is a nation reeling from fucking 9/11. You know, at the end, the New Yorkers are rallying.
Yeah.
The New Yorkers,
That's the worst scene in the
the
movie.
New Yorkers band together, but they do it again in the second movie, which they weren't in the original script. Those in the first
scenes?
movie, it was added after 9/11. They felt like the New Yorkers should rally. The movie ends with him in front of a fucking American flag. Both movies, Spider-Man 1 and 2. The whole superhero craze is like a culture that's regaining its superpower essence in media form, even if that's not really what's happening. You know, it's they're
trying to do something.
they're clinging to it.
Yeah.
Or we're clinging to it. You know what I mean? But Mutiny on the
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
yeah, trying to stop a guy helping a bunch of kids. Hits him with a can. But this movie, if you think about what is about to happen, it is excellent to look at it from that perspective of Bly is the old establishment and Brando is the young hippies who want to fuck.
Yeah.
And that's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the subtext of the movie that they may not even be aware is happening, but it's there.
So they get to Pitcairn Island. They set up a little
It's
camp.
a fruitful place.
Yeah, it's
They
full.
have
There's no human
food.
beings.
Yep.
They're-
Good fish,
Right.
good game, everything they need.
And this is the part that I think really goes off script with reality here, where Brando wants to go home. He wants to go
Yep.
back to England and face true justice.
Well, it's still, they're not far enough away from the 60s yet, from the 50s, to have him completely not want to go back to his culture, right? It's not, if this movie came out in 68,
It would have been like Happily Ever After.
Exactly.
Pitcairn.
yeah, or some gruesome shit would have ended up happening in a
Right.
different way. Like he would have been like hung for like being so awesome and free. But this is like, I long to go back to like,
Yes, because it's the right thing to do.
it's the right thing. I long to go back to that authoritarian.
Well, he also
Not only that, he just
No, it
wants to
wasn't.
face true justice.
also no.
Yeah.
And give his side of everything.
He wants to give his side to make sure that cruelty never happens again. So even if it means them dying which there's a chance, and there's also a chance that they'll be heard and seen for what it is, which is we faced intolerable cruelty at the hands of this man, and he needs to face justice.
Sure.
That's the real reason why Brando's like, this is why we have to go back. And the crew were like, give us a night because this is pretty heavy for us to hear because we're plain seamen.
Right.
And they burn the ship.
Burn the ship while he's asleep. And he runs onto the ship to try and save it. He wants to sink it in the shallows.
Save the hull.
Yeah. But it's too late.
Fails.
He gets caught in the fire. He burns up and then dies.
Well,
on
he
the
burns
beach.
up because he's missing something.
The sextant.
He needs a sextant
Yeah.
because that's the only way they're going to get back. Even if they build a small ship, they need it. So he runs into the ship. He tries to get out, and the mast falls on him and fatally injures him in the movie.
Yes.
And you get the sad scene that's lit very well for the time period, and I think you could probably have something to say about that.
Movie looks great. It's sad. It's lit. This ending was actually a reshoot. This was not like part of the original plan.
Oh, really?
The director was fired and they had to reshoot it because they weren't happy with how it came out. The whole production of this was a complete shit show, and they had to redo it. The original director was not there for filming. They had like another dude come in to shoot this death scene. There is one thing that I do find funny about the ship being sabotaged is that the men, they're not afraid of Fletcher. They're
No.
not afraid of Christian. So they're like, we'll burn the ship down.
Well, they made it very clear that now everyone's equal.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they were scared that Fletcher was going to drag him back.
He's our lead. Well, but he's our leader, but he's not. He's one of us. You know? He's not above us. So, fuck you. We have no respect for you. We're going to do what we want.
Now, the real ship was not burned.
The real ship. I actually don't know what happened to the real ship. I think it sunk. It sunk right there, right? Well, the real Fletcher Christian, as far as we know, because nobody really knows what happened to him, but the people of Pitcairn Island, who are now the descendants of the mutineers, there was a story that went around in the 70s and 80s who, this is someone's descendant, said that in the years following the mutiny, the people in the island, the Tahitians and the British people, they didn't like each other. I mean, these are kidnapped people, and they ended up fighting. And in the fighting that followed, he was killed, and they buried him on the island. So
That makes sense.
he's still there. But I guess they made peace eventually because the people, the population of 40, 50 people that live there now are all descendants of these people.
It's like white Polynesian people, supposedly.
They're British Polynesians.
Yeah, when they found them, when they found the people, they were shocked that there were some Polynesian people speaking like perfect English.
There's
that had been-
American fishermen that found them.
that had been raised like Englishmen. And like it was fucking weird to them.
Yeah.
So there was a direct descendant of Fletcher, Christian,
Who went back to the island and tried to figure out what happened.
who will have a remake of The Bounty made in New York.
Oh, really? I didn't know about this.
And when Hurricane Katrina hit, it destroyed the Bounty, killing the captain and her.
Really?
She died on the Bounty.
What was she trying to do?
I think they were like, maybe they were living on it at the time or trying to save it. And it sunk and they died in Hurricane Katrina.
The Bounty was lit on fire. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
Really?
thought so.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a pretty sad story with that one. It was like, wow, she was like a direct. You can see pictures of her online. She's actually on the Bounty and stuff like that.
Today, Pitcairn Island is the only British colony left in the Pacific. It's still under British jurisdiction.
Oh, it's technically British?
Yes, they send supplies there on a regular basis. I know a lot of the population sends their kids to like New Zealand for school and shit.
Okay.
My wife
insane.
was fascinated by this yesterday. She was looking up all this stuff.
So-
apparently they spend like $200 a month on internet. Like they have internet, but it's
Yeah.
like it's all comes from like this one generator that gets shut off at 10 p.m. every night.
I was fascinated by them, and this is why I don't like where the movie ended. Because I wanted to know what happened to those people. And the movie ends, Brando's dead, and it's like, but there's still a bunch of people on the island. Are they captured? Did they get arrested? Like, you don't know what
On
happened.
Tahiti or on
on Pitcairn.
Well, I don't think
They live the rest of their lives.
But you don't know that in the movie.
because it was over budget already. They
You don't
probably
need to
had.
know.
They
You can-
probably had.
you can
like,
know
a
that from
reason
real
to
life.
Do that.
Well, I had to look it up. But imagine this is 1965 and I'm seeing this.
Sure.
Can't look it
And
up
I don't know.
anywhere.
I have to go to the library, look at, you know what I mean? So, that was a little thing that I didn't know. That annoyed me a little. And there's actually different cuts of this movie. There's an American version, which is the one I'm pretty sure we saw, and then there's a British version, which is an extended edition, and I believe it has 12 additional opening and closing minutes, and I think you see more of the Pandora, which is Bly's second ship when he's out for vengeance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I think that'd be a cool movie too. Watching Bly,
It's completely
like
fictional though. That didn't happen.
Bly didn't set
No,
out.
They wouldn't let him.
Oh,
Another
okay.
ship went after them.
It was.
Right.
It was the Pandora though.
Oh yeah.
So what happened was they went to Tahiti, arrested those people, but on the way back they lost like 30 crew members, and I think
They hit a reef.
like two prisoners. I think like a bunch of people died on the way back. Like
Yeah.
it cost them a lot to get those people.
Interesting little fun fact about the island itself. Like it's uninhabited when they get there, but what they end up finding is like cave drawings and like all this stuff that had been there forever. Like at some point, people were living on the island.
Wow.
And either left or died out. So they're still there. Like there's.
That's insane.
Yeah.
that's nuts.
I'm gonna look up pictures after this.
It's cool.
I didn't see
It's
it.
really crazy.
Wow.
Fun fact about the movie and Brando. Brando actually bought like one of the islands near Tahiti because he liked it so much. And he put a 99-year lease on this private island in Tahiti
To himself,
to himself. And no one else could go there.
who owns it now? He's dead.
I guess it's inherited somewhere in his family.
Yeah.
And it's just like this empty, beautiful looking private island.
So, a couple of things about also the making of this. Brando, because he reached such stardom at this point, he got away with murder. He
Clearly,
would
I mean, he's raping people with butter.
He would pull cast members from working.
believe that.
They'd be working on the film. He would pull cast members off of the set to go set up weddings for his friends in Tahiti. He would throw parties there constantly, and he would have thousands of pounds of champagne, ham, like all this crazy meat flown in on the production's dime for him to throw parties in Tahiti constantly.
He said this was like the best period in his life filming this movie.
Really?
Yeah, he just spent
Yeah.
millions of dollars on partying and weddings, and he found his wife
He's
there.
like, every day we would like be shooting on the ship or whatever in Tahiti. And once like we were done, I'd take off my like sailor stuff and I'd dive into the ocean from the ship and swim like on the beach and just party and like
Yeah.
frolic with women.
So what would happen is they'd work for like 2 or 3 hours. He'd get bored, take his clothes off, and jump in the water, even though they were all ready to keep shooting. And I think so much. Richard Harris was the other guy.
Richard Harris is in the movie. Yeah.
Richard Harris refused to go to the screening of it.
Richard Harris plays Mills.
Yeah, he refused to go because he was like, this was a nightmare to film. And specifically because of Brando.
So I read two little factoids about this. One of them was
I love it. I love it.
the scene with the mutiny, the big scene. If you remember, Brando punches Richard Harris. And Richard Harris apparently broke his balls to no end about this. Apparently, Brando gave him a punch, and he's like, "What is that? What are you, a pussy?" And he kept making fun of him, and he kept having him and just laughing at him and like calling him a fruit and shit. And Brando like stormed off and was furious. And another time,
It's so good.
when at the premiere, when the movie started and Brando starts speaking, apparently the whole crowd burst into laughter at his accent.
Yeah.
And he got mad and walked out. Yeah.
I wish there was a documentary about the making of this film.
Yeah, it seems like
I
it
wish I
needs
could have
one.
saw that.
It would be so interesting, but nobody gives a fuck about this.
Yeah, I didn't know it
except us.
bombed.
I
Yeah,
mean, the
It was,
Disaster Artist
it was,
did good.
It was nominated for Best Picture,
Yeah.
but it did not make its money back. It's a giant flop.
Yeah. So picking this movie, I was like,
Why did you pick this?
I think I just Googled like history movies and I saw a long list and I was like, we did a couple modern movies. I want something a little old. So I was like, history movies from the 60s. And I saw Brando with like this Tahitian Polynesian woman and a
The box
ship.
art?
The box
the
art,
poster.
yeah.
It's great.
And I'm like, what is this? And I looked up the Mutiny on the Bounty, and I'm like, okay, it's Brando.
Yeah.
It's about this cool story. I think this is going to be a good movie, and it surpassed my expectations.
I fucking
completely.
loved it.
Yeah. Well, what did you rate it?
This is a 9.
It's a 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm at like an 8.5. It was high up there. Like that was I would watch this anytime it was on. What about you, bro?
I would go with a 6.5. Wow.
Didn't like it.
I liked it. I felt wanting by the ending.
Okay.
I did not leave satisfied.
The one thing comes in.
And after a 3-hour movie, it's like I really want a
want
big
that end.
payoff.
Yeah.
And like I had questions at the end about what happens.
But then you had fun looking them up, looking up the answers.
I had fun. Yeah, it was interesting looking it up and stuff. And like it definitely, I learned about shit. But like
You want
know.
that Ben-Hur 10 Commandments ending. You want that epic, right?
yeah, like even Lawrence of Arabia, the ending at the beginning of the movie. But like because it's filled in so well,
Yes.
it's great. This is like, okay, I know there's gonna be a mutiny. There's a mutiny, there's a lot of fucking. And then he gets crushed by a mast and it's over.
Yeah.
It's like
I get it. Yeah.
There's no like, what did we learn from this?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. We learned that Brando's a pimp.
It was just like this wacky story.
Yeah.
You're right. And maybe that does take away from it, but I enjoyed the ride so much.
I could understand that. It's just like, like I enjoyed the ride and then it just stopped short at the end and it's like, oh man, you almost had it.
Yeah.
But definitely a cool movie and a lot of the subtext is awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad we picked this. You guys want to say any final thoughts or say goodbye?
Yeah, you want to go to Tahiti?
That's what I was saying yesterday. I was like, are we going to pick Karen? We gotta go there.
Oh, we got to go there? Like,
I want to go to my kitchen with you guys because I have 2 things of butter that I know what I want to do with it.
Country cock. That's crock.
Yeah, I knew. We all knew.
It's not real butter. And
I
it's
can't believe it.
It's not margarine. It's country crock. Comes in a tub.
All right, real quick. Are you a tub of butter
do you
man
think
or a
the
stick
tub
man?
will fit?
Now you're just speaking my language.
No, real quick. No,
Fit that whole fucking tub right up there. That's what I'm gonna do.
The director's just staring at Brando. Like,
Fit it in. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna finger slam my dick hole. I'm gonna take my finger, I'm gonna slam it right into my fucking own dick hole. What do you think of that? What do you think of them apples?
I think
Yeah.
it was amazing method acting.
I thought Brando was in the room with us.
You had a glint in your eyes of Brando.
So
Reincarnation.
real quick, as far as butter goes, non-anal, like traditional, like butter usage. Are you a stick man or like a tub man, like a spread?
Spreadable
Depends what I'm
butter
doing. So
fucking rules.
if I'm cooking, I'm using the stick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you're cooking, you got to use the stick.
Right, but he's putting on toast.
If I'm putting it on toast or something like that, I'll do it from the tub, and it's easier. It's
Hello.
hard to spread like the cold, block of butter. It's hard to spread on certain things. So
So here's what I do.
you put it in you.
I get a knife
Slowly.
and I put it in the microwave for a couple minutes.
You put the knife in the microwave.
And then I take the knife out and it's nice and hot. So it slices through the
Do you
butter
actually
and
do
it
this?
spreads easy. Of course I do.
This is a ton of effort.
But then you get the nice
You get the
spread.
sparks.
I gotta tell
the
you guys
sparks
a
from the
story.
metal
So
knife.
A few weeks ago,
He just
the three of us,
ignored you
the
completely.
three of us were at a lake house. We went on a
and,
vacation,
and tell him what Beaver did.
and Brian
Me?
shows up
You're saying I did this?
with a bag of Wendy's. Old Wendy's. First of all, who saves Wendy's? If you don't finish it, throw it out.
Okay, can I tell you what happened? We actually, me and my wife, we ordered one burger each, and we were driving up, and they gave us an extra one they fucked up. That's why it was there.
Okay, so Brian had an extra burger,
Yeah, burger.
and he decided at like 3 a.m. it was time to heat that sucker up. So he throws it in the microwave, and me and Beaver are playing Stratego of all things. We're sitting there, we're
a great
playing,
game.
we're playing Stratego, and Brian's in the background doing whatever the fuck he's doing. And all of a sudden I hear
You
this,
just
and I'm so engrossed in the Stratego, I don't even look up. But Beaver's like, "Hey, you're burning down the house." Brian put tinfoil in the microwave.
It was sparking and smoking everywhere.
And then he has the audacity to go, "What? I do this all the time at my house."
I do.
He goes, "It never happens. It never sparks like that." We're just looking at you like,
I've noticed
what are you
like
talking
older
about?
microwaves are more prone to spark than newer ones.
No,
What are you
any
talking
microwave
about? You
is
don't-
prone to sparking if you put metal in it.
How do you put butter knives in a microwave? You can't do
The
that.
butter knives thing, I'm joking. What I'll actually do is I'll heat up the toaster oven and I'll put the knife
How do
on
you-
like the hot coils.
How do
I
you
hope you get
own-
electrocuted.
How do you own a house? Like, how is it not burnt down by now?
You never do that.
No.
You gotta do it. The knife gets so hot.
Dude, you're
it cuts
so
through
insane.
anything.
Brian boils water by putting it in a pan, putting the pan in the oven.
Do you remember when he told us he couldn't boil water?
Yeah, he said it takes a half hour
Why was it taking you so long to boil
because
water?
he's heating. He has to preheat the oven, put the pot in the oven.
That's what he was doing?
No. It takes a while for water to boil
It takes
sometimes.
like 10 minutes, not even.
I had a big pot.
Less than 10.
I will tell you one time it took me 2 hours to grill plain chicken.
Why?
I don't know. It wasn't working. I had to throw out the chicken. I had to go to work. It took 2 hours. I think on
You're
that,
the worst chef ever.
I think
I
on
feel
that
like-
kitchen there was a time warp.
I just.
There's a spatial anomaly in
feel
his,
like
in his oven.
He has the chicken on a fork like it's fucking s'mores, and he's sitting there cooking one little piece of it at a time.
What did you have as a burner? A match?
He has one lighter. He has one lighter.
He's
trying
got
to cook.
He's got a Zippo underneath his pan.
It runs out of fluid. Oh my! All right.
I'm glad I brought up the butter
Well,
now.
thank
That
you,
led to fun directions.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much. This is another fun one.
This is good.
All right. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to give a shout out again to Tell 'em Steve Dave. Thank you to Walt Flanagan. Get 'em Steve Dave. Come on down to TESD Town Studios in beautiful Hazlet, New Jersey. Visit Get 'em, buy some merch, take a tour of the studio. Really awesome, cool place. So much cool artwork. Great shit to see. Come down, check it out. Follow the podcast on Facebook. You know, all that good social media, all that shit. Give us a like on iTunes. It helps potential advertisers find the show. Give us a 5-star rating. Spread the word to your friends and family. Follow me personally on Letterboxd, also Steve and Anthony. We all have Letterboxd where we rank all the movies we watch for the show. On my personal Letterboxd, I review every movie I watch, so take a look at that. Follow me on Twitter at Brian Rupert. That's BrianRuppert. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.
I am the P-Man!